She looked me straight in the eyes, squeezed my wrist so hard it hurt, leaned close to my ear at my own wedding altar, and said in a cold, sharp voice, "He deserves better than you." The music was still playing. The guests were still smiling. My white dress was still shining under the lights. But inside me, something broke. My heart stopped. My hands started shaking. And then, I smiled. I looked back at her. And I answered her. So loudly that everyone heard. So boldly that the pastor froze. So truthfully that the entire ceremony changed forever. Gasps filled the room. My fiancé dropped my hand. His face turned pale. Someone screamed. And that was the moment everything exploded. But before I tell you what I said, before I tell you how one sentence turned my wedding into a battlefield, let me ask you something. Have you ever been betrayed by someone who smiled at you every day? Have you ever trusted people who were planning your downfall? If you love emotional stories, real-life drama, and strong women who refuse to be broken, then stay with me.
Like,
Watch till the end,
subscribe.
because what you're about to hear will shock you. Now, let me take you back. Back to who I am. Back to where it all started. My name is Emily Carter. I am 27 years old. I grew up in a small town in Ohio. My father, Robert Carter, was a school teacher. My mother, Linda Carter, was a nurse. We were not rich. We were not famous. But we were honest. We loved each other. We ate dinner together every night. We prayed together. We laughed together. My parents taught me one thing. Emily, your name is your pride. Never let anyone stain it. I believed that. I lived by it. I studied hard. I worked harder. After college, I became a legal assistant at a law firm in Chicago. That's where I met him. Jason Miller.
Tall.
Handsome. Soft-spoken. Always smelling like clean soap and coffee. He was a junior lawyer at the firm. The first time we spoke, he spilled coffee on my files. He apologized for 10 minutes straight. I laughed. That was the start. We began talking. Then eating lunch together. Then texting at night. Then holding hands. Then falling in love. Jason made me feel safe. He listened. He remembered small things. He brought me soup when I was sick. He waited outside my office when I worked late. He told me, "Emily, you are my future." I believed him. After 1 year, he proposed. In the park. On one knee. With tears in his eyes. I said yes.
Of course I said yes.
I was in love. I thought I had found my forever. But there was one problem. His mother. Margaret Miller. From the first day I met her, she hated me. She smiled with her lips. But not with her eyes. Her eyes were always cold. Sharp. Judging. At our first dinner, she said, "So, you're just a legal assistant? Not nice to meet you. Not welcome." Just that. When I answered politely, she nodded like I had failed a test. She always compared me to Jason's ex, to her friend's daughter, to rich girls she liked. "Jason deserves the best," she would say. And she never meant me. Jason told me to ignore her. "She'll come around," he said. "She's just protective." I tried. I really tried. I bought her gifts. I helped her cook. I called her mom sometimes. She never called me by my name. She called me dear. Like I was nobody special. Still, I stayed. Because I loved Jason.
And he loved me.
Or so I thought. When we planned the wedding, things got worse. Margaret wanted control.
The dress.
The food. The guest list. Even the flowers. When I chose white roses, she said, "Red is better. White looks cheap." When I chose my best friend as maid of honor, she said, "Family should come first." When I chose our song, she said, "That song is childish." Jason stayed silent. That hurt, but I told myself, after marriage it will change. I was wrong. 2 weeks before the wedding, I heard something. Something that shook me. I was at Jason's apartment. He was in the shower. His phone buzzed on the table. I wasn't trying to snoop.
I swear.
But the screen lit up. A message. From his mother.
It said,
"Make sure she doesn't find out." We cannot let her ruin everything.
My heart jumped.
Find out what? Ruin what? My hands started shaking. I didn't open it. I was scared. But from that day, doubt entered my heart. I started noticing things. Whispers. Late calls. Secret meetings. Jason becoming distant. Still, he smiled. Still, he kissed me. Still, he said, I love you.
So I stayed.
I trusted him. I chose love over fear. Big mistake. Then came the wedding day. The most important day of my life. The day I thought would make me happy forever. I wore my mother's veil. My father cried when he saw me. My friends hugged me. The church was full. The music was soft. Everything looked perfect. I walked down the aisle. Jason smiled at me, but his eyes were nervous.
Sweaty.
Afraid. I didn't understand why.
Not yet.
Then, just before the pastor spoke, Margaret stood up.
She walked to me.
Everyone thought she was fixing my dress. She leaned close. Her perfume burned my nose. Her nails dug into my skin. And she whispered, he deserves better than you. That was when I knew. Everything, every secret, every lie, every betrayal, was about to come out. My heart pounded. My throat burned. My tears begged to fall. But I didn't cry. I smiled. I lifted my head. I looked at her. And I opened my mouth to speak. But before I could finish my sentence, a loud voice shouted from the back of the church, stop this wedding right now. And every single person turned around in shock. Stop this wedding right now. The voice cut through the church like thunder. It was loud, angry, desperate. Everyone froze. The music stopped. The pastor dropped his Bible. My mother grabbed my father's hand. Jason's smile disappeared.
My heart almost jumped out of my chest.
All eyes turned to the back door. A woman stood there. Her hair was messy. Her dress was wrinkled. Her eyes were red from crying. She was shaking. I had never seen her before. But Jason had. Because the moment he saw her, his face went white. Like paper. He whispered, no, not now, please. Margaret gasped. She rushed toward the woman. What are you doing here? She hissed.
Leave.
You're not welcome. But the woman didn't move. She walked slowly down the aisle. Each step felt heavy. Each step sounded loud.
Tap, tap, tap.
She stopped in front of us. Right in front of me. Right in front of Jason. Then she pointed at him with a trembling finger and said, tell them the truth. The church went silent. No coughing. No whispering. No breathing. Jason looked at the floor. The woman turned to me. Her eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, she said. I didn't want to come like this. But you deserve to know. My hands felt cold. My legs felt weak. Know what? I asked softly. She swallowed. Then said the words that shattered my world. He's married to me. A scream escaped my mouth. What? The guests exploded. People stood up. Phones came out. Someone shouted, this is crazy. My mother rushed forward. Jason, what is she talking about? Jason opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. No sound came out. Margaret grabbed his arm. Don't say anything, she whispered harshly. That was when I understood. She knew. She had always known. The woman continued. My name is Rachel Thompson, she said. We got married 3 years ago. In secret. I felt dizzy. Secret? I repeated. Yes, Rachel said. His mother didn't like me. She said I wasn't good enough. She said our marriage would ruin his future. Margaret shouted. Lies. All lies. But Rachel pulled out papers. Real papers. Stamped.
Signed.
Marriage certificate. Divorce request. Never completed. Photos. Messages.
Proof.
She handed them to the pastor. He looked. His face changed. This is real, he said quietly. Gasps filled the room again. Jason finally spoke. Emily, I can explain. Explain what? I cried. You're married. I was going to fix it, he said. I was going to divorce her after the wedding. After
The
wedding. So, you are going to marry me while still married to her? I asked. He nodded slowly. Tears fell from his eyes. I love you. That was the biggest lie of all. Margaret snapped. You were weak, she screamed at Rachel. You should have stayed quiet. Then she turned to me. You see? This is why I said he deserves better. You bring drama. I laughed. I couldn't stop myself. It sounded crazy, broken, painful. You raised him to be a liar, I said. And you call me the problem?
She slapped me.
Right there, in front of everyone. The sound was loud, sharp. My cheek burned. My father rushed forward. How dare you touch my daughter? Jason tried to hold me. I pushed him away. Don't touch me, I said. I turned to Rachel. How long have you known about me?
She cried.
2 months. I found your photos. Your engagement post. My knees buckled. 2 months. While I was planning my dream, he was living a lie. Then a police officer walked in. 2 of them. Someone had called them. They walked straight to Jason. Mr. Miller, one said. You are under arrest for fraud and bigamy. Handcuffs clicked. Jason panicked.
Mom.
Help me. Margaret screamed. This is a mistake. They took him away. In front of everyone. In front of me. My wedding turned into a crime scene. Guests whispered. Cameras flashed. My dress was stained with tears. I stood there.
Broken. Empty. But something inside me changed.
Something hardened. Something dangerous. Rachel touched my arm. I'm sorry, she said. We can fight this together. I looked at her. 2 women. One man's lies. One mother's evil plan. One destroyed life. And then my phone vibrated. A message. From an unknown number. It read, If you think this is over, you're wrong. You will pay for humiliating my family. My blood ran cold. I looked up. Margaret was staring at me, smiling. My phone slipped from my hand. It hit the church floor with a soft crack. But the sound felt loud in my ears. If you think this is over, you're wrong. You will pay for humiliating my family. Those words burned into my mind. I slowly raised my head. Margaret was still standing near the front. Her lips were curved into a small smile. Not a happy smile. Not a proud smile. A dangerous smile. The kind that promises pain. Our eyes met. And in that moment I knew, this woman was not done with me. Not even close. The police had taken Jason away. The guests were still whispering. Some were crying. Some were recording. Some were already leaving. My dream wedding had turned into a public disaster. My mother wrapped her arms around me. Emily, let's go home, she whispered. I nodded. I had no strength left. Rachel walked beside us. Quiet. Ashamed. Broken like me. Outside the church, reporters waited. Cameras flashed. Miss Carter, how do you feel? Did you know he was married? Will you sue? My father pushed them away. No comments. We drove home in silence. That night, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Jason's face.
His lies.
His tears. His fake love. I kept asking myself one question. How could I be so blind? The next morning, my phone was full. Messages.
Calls.
News links. My wedding video was everywhere. Bride exposes bigamy at altar. Lawyer arrested on wedding day. Mother-in-law slaps bride. Millions of views. My pain had become entertainment. I stopped going to work. I stopped answering friends. I stayed in my room. Days passed. Then weeks. Rachel and I started talking. At first it was awkward. Then honest. Then supportive. We met at cafes. We cried together. We shared everything. She told me how Margaret had forced her to hide the marriage. How Jason said it was temporary. How he promised to fix it. He never did. We decided to testify together. The court case began. Jason was charged with fraud, bigamy, and identity deception. Margaret hired expensive lawyers. She claimed she knew nothing. She lied. Again. But we had proof. Messages. Voice recordings. Bank transfers. She had paid Jason to keep Rachel quiet. She had helped plan the fake wedding. She had known everything. The judge listened. The jury listened. After 3 months, Jason was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Margaret was charged for conspiracy and obstruction. She got 2 years. When the judge read the sentence, she fainted. I didn't feel happy. I felt empty. I thought justice would heal me. It didn't. After court, I tried to rebuild. I moved to a new apartment. I changed my number. I returned to work.
Slowly. Carefully.
1 year passed. Then 2. I started smiling again. I started trusting again. I even started dating. Not seriously.
Just coffee.
Just conversation. I promised myself, no more blind love. No more ignoring red flags. Then one evening, I got a letter. No sender. No stamp. Just my name. In red ink. I opened it. Inside there was one sentence. You took my son. I will take everything from you. My hands trembled. Margaret. She had been released. Early. For good behavior. Fear returned. Stronger. Soon after, strange things began. My car tire was slashed. My office computer was hacked. Anonymous emails were sent to my boss. False accusations. Fake screenshots. They said I stole money. They said I slept with clients. I was suspended. Then fired. My reputation collapsed. Friends stopped calling. Neighbors whispered. Even my landlord asked me to leave. Rachel called me crying. Emily, it's happening to me too. Her bank account was frozen. Her photos were leaked. Her job ended. We understood. Margaret was taking revenge. Slowly.
Carefully. Cruelly.
We went to the police. They said, no solid proof. We hired a private investigator. His name was Daniel Brooks. Quiet.
Smart.
Observant. He started digging. One night, he called me.
Emily, he said.
I found something big. What? I asked. Margaret is running an illegal money scheme through fake charities. My heart jumped. That's how she's funding everything. Do you have proof? I asked.
Yes.
Enough to put her back in prison. Forever. For the first time in years, I felt hope. We planned to submit everything to federal agents. We agreed to meet Daniel at his office. Friday, 8 p.m. Rachel and I arrived early. The office was dark. Too dark. Daniel? I called. No answer.
We walked in.
Then we saw him, lying on the floor. Blood everywhere. Not moving. And, behind us, the door slammed shut. The sound echoed through the dark office. Rachel screamed. I froze. My heart started beating so fast, I thought it would explode. Daniel? I whispered. No answer. He lay on the floor. His face was pale. Blood stained his shirt. Papers were scattered everywhere. Files. Photos. Documents. Proof. All over the room. Someone had been here. Someone had done this. Emily, we have to go, Rachel cried. She pulled my arm, but my legs would not move. What if he was still alive? What if we could save him? I knelt beside him. Daniel, please, I whispered. I touched his neck. No pulse. My stomach twisted. He was dead.
Just like that.
Because he tried to help us. Suddenly, footsteps sounded outside.
Slow.
Heavy. Coming closer.
Tap. Tap. Tap.
Rachel covered her mouth. We're trapped, she whispered. The office window was high. Too high. The back door was locked. Then the handle turned. Click. The door opened. Light entered the room. And there she was. Margaret. Wearing a black coat.
Calm.
Perfect hair. Cold eyes. Like nothing had happened. Behind her stood 2 men.
Big. Silent.
Dangerous. Well, she said softly. Look at you two. Still causing problems. My whole body shook. You killed him, I said. She smiled. I didn't touch him. One of the men laughed. She didn't have to. Rachel screamed. You're evil. Margaret walked closer. Her heels clicked on the floor. I warned you, she said. I told you I would take everything. She bent down, picked up one of Daniel's files, looked at it, then ripped it in half. You should have stayed quiet, she said. I stood up. My fear turned into fire. No, I said. You should have raised your son better. Her face darkened. You ruined my family, she snapped. You sent my son to prison. He did that himself, I shouted. She slapped me again, harder than before. I fell. My lips split. Blood filled my mouth. Rachel tried to run. One of the men grabbed her. Let her go. I screamed. Margaret raised her hand. He stopped. She looked at me. You are strong, she said. I'll give you that. But strength doesn't save you. She leaned close to my face. You will disappear tonight. My heart stopped. Disappear? You'll have an accident, she continued calmly. A robbery gone wrong. Very sad. Rachel cried loudly. You can't do this. Margaret laughed. Watch me. Then, sirens. Distant. Faint. But real. Woo-woo. Margaret froze. What is that? One man asked. My heart jumped. Police. Someone had called the police. But who? I hadn't. Rachel hadn't. Margaret rushed to the window. Her face changed. Blue and red lights flashed outside. No, 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 she whispered. Then she turned to me. What did you do? I smiled. Through blood. Through tears. I learned from you, I said. Always have a backup. Earlier that day, I had felt scared. Something told me not to trust the meeting. So I had shared my live location with my father. I told him, if I don't answer in 1 hour, call the police. He had. The sirens grew louder. The men panicked. We have to go. Margaret grabbed her bag. We're not done, she screamed at me. They ran. Out the back door. Through the fire exit. Police rushed in seconds later. Guns raised. Hands up. Rachel collapsed. Crying. I collapsed too. The next hours were a blur. Ambulances. Questions. Statements. Photos. News. Again. Investigator found dead. Suspects at large. Margaret was on the run. Her face was everywhere. TV. Internet. Posters. Weeks passed. Then months. One morning, I got a call. We found her. She had been arrested in Mexico. Trying to escape. Fake passport. Fake name. This time, there was no escape. But during the trial, something shocking came out. Something that changed everything. Something that made me question my past. My love. My life. Myself. The prosecutor looked at me and said, Miss Carter, we have evidence that Jason was never the mastermind. My heart dropped. What do you mean? He continued, your ex-fiancé was following orders. From you. And the courtroom exploded. People stood up. Voices clashed. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted. My mother grabbed my arm. Emily, what are they saying? I couldn't speak. My throat felt locked. The prosecutor raised his hand. Order. Order in the court. The judge banged his hammer. Silence. Everyone slowly sat down. My legs were shaking. My heart was screaming. The prosecutor turned to me. Miss Carter, he said calmly, we have recovered messages, recordings, and financial records. He lifted a folder. Thick. Heavy. Full. These documents show that after your wedding was destroyed, you secretly began collecting evidence. My breathing stopped. He continued. You contacted Daniel Brooks under a false name. Screens appeared. Messages. Emails. My words. My plans. You paid him through hidden accounts. More screens. Bank transfers. Numbers. My name. Rachel looked at me. Her eyes wide. Emily? I closed my eyes. 2 years. 2 years of pain. 2 years of planning. 2 years of pretending to be weak. The prosecutor went on. You allowed Margaret to believe she was winning. You let her attack you. Destroy your career. Destroy your name. You used her revenge to track her crimes. Silence. Pure silence. Then he said the truth. The defendant, Margaret Miller, was caught because of Miss Carter's trap.
Gasps.
Whispers.
Shock.
The judge leaned forward. Is this true, Miss Carter? I stood up. Slowly.
Carefully.
My hands were steady now. No fear. No tears. Only truth. Yes, I said. Everything came out. After the wedding. After the arrest. After the threats. I had changed. I stopped being the crying girl in a white dress. I became careful. Smart. Patient. I studied law at night. I learned about digital tracking. Hidden accounts. Fake identities. I contacted Daniel secretly. I never trusted anyone fully again. Not even Rachel. I let Margaret think she was powerful. Untouchable. I let her hurt me. So she would grow bold.
So she would make mistakes.
So she would expose herself. Daniel's death was not planned. That broke me. That almost ended everything. But it made me stronger. I gave the police everything. Every file. Every recording. Every location. Margaret's charities. Her money trails. Her fake companies. Her hired men. Even Jason's role.
Yes.
Jason knew. He helped his mother. At first. Then he tried to escape.
Too late.
The judge spoke. Margaret Miller, you are sentenced to life imprisonment for murder, conspiracy, fraud, and obstruction. Margaret screamed.
No.
She did this. She used me. I looked at her.
Calm. Cold.
You used yourself, I said. Jason was brought in. Handcuffed. Broken. Older. Smaller. He cried. Emily, I loved you. I shook my head. No, I said. You loved comfort. You loved lies. He was sentenced to 12 more years. No appeal. No mercy. Outside the court, reporters rushed me. Emily, was this revenge? I thought, then answered.
No.
This was justice. Years passed. I rebuilt. I became a lawyer. I helped women in abusive relationships, in fraud cases, in family betrayal. Rachel and I stayed friends. Real friends. Honest friends. My parents were proud. One evening, I stood alone in my apartment, looking at my old wedding photo. I burned it, watched it turn to ash, and smiled, because the girl who once cried at the altar had become a woman who wrote her own ending. And if Margaret ever wonders what I said at the altar that day, the words that changed everything, here they are. He deserves better, she whispered. And I replied, so do I. And I walked away. Forever.